We have one more presentation. This time, the chair recognizes Councilwoman Kiona Sanchez, who will present a resolution recognizing the Philadelphia Children's Alliance and the Department of Human Services with Ms. Chris Kirchner, Commissioner Cynthia Figueroa, and those accompanying them. Please join the Councilwoman at the podium. And joining the Councilwoman, we have Councilman Green, Councilman Heenan, Councilman Taubenberger, Councilwoman Reynolds Brown.
Thank you all. It is so important, the connectivity between the presentations we've had this morning. We had a wonderful author who talked about her childhood trauma and how she has succeeded. We had the women who uplift our community and keep our families together. And now we recognize one of the premier service providers as we deal with family and childhood trauma in the city of Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Children's Alliance. If you haven't had an opportunity to read an American writer, a very revered writer, Junot Diaz, last week in the New Yorker dropped an article about his childhood abuse and trauma. And it was a very moving story, and I encourage everyone who has an opportunity to read that to read it. I want to thank Commissioner Figueroa for joining us and their support and partnership of this wonderful program. We do this every year as we declare April Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month. So with that, recognizing and honoring the Philadelphia Children's Alliance and the Department of Human Services for their partnership and commitment to bring healing and justice to victims of child abuse in Philadelphia, and declaring April 2018 to be the Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month in the city of Philadelphia. Whereas for over 28 years, the Philadelphia Children's Alliance and the Department of Human Services has advocated for a team-based approach, built a cooperative relationship, introduced efficiencies into the system to provide rapid response and effectively change how abused children are served and cared for in Philadelphia. And
whereas the Philadelphia Children's Alliance became a full member of the National Children's Alliance, NCA, in 1992 and was accredited by the NCA in 2001. Today, Philadelphia Children's Alliance not only meets all National Children's Alliance standards, but is the national best standards model for peer agencies nationwide. And whereas in 2013, the Philadelphia Children's Alliance, the Department of Human Services, Police Special Victims Unit, the District Attorney's Office, and the medical providers co-located in one facility within the 7th Councilmanic District to create a more effective and caring response to children who have been sexually abused. All are dedicated to providing justice and healing for sexually abused children, working to protect victims, ending the cycle of abuse, protecting children who have experienced minor sex trafficking, and improve the quality of abuse investigations. With the additions of SEPTA's newest Route 53, this facility not only is more accessible, but it also allows for more streamlined investigations and less traumatic experience for children.
And whereas 2017 Philadelphia's Children's Alliance and co-located partners conducted 1,916 forensic interviews with 2,177 children and caregivers receiving victim advocacy. 182 children received mental health therapy on site, and in addition, 800 children were linked with trauma-focused therapy at mental health partner agencies throughout the city of Philadelphia. And
whereas St. Christopher's Hospital and the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia has established a medical clinic on site at the co-located facility so that any child is able to receive the immediate attention and care they need 5 days a week. In 2017, 560 children received on-site medical evaluations. And
whereas April is Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month, and Philadelphia's Children's Alliance with the Department of Human Services recognizes this month by promoting increased knowledge of the resources available to parents and caregivers to prevent child maltreatment and promote well-being at.
And whereas the Philadelphia Children's Alliance and the Department of Human Services are well-respected organizations in Philadelphia focused on services to child victims of sexual abuse and minor sex trafficking. We recognize the critical need for these vital services to protect children and families they serve so that children can quickly get the help they need to be safe and have fulfilling lives. And
thank you to all my colleagues who have visited and supported this work. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the City of Philadelphia hereby recognizes, congratulates, honors, and celebrates the work of the Philadelphia Children's Alliance, the Department of Human Services, for their commitment to promoting healing and justice for victims of child abuse in Philadelphia, and declaring April 2018 to be Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month in the city. We extend our sincere respect and admiration of this legislative body and thank the organization for leading the national movement and how we care for children. Further be it resolved that an engrossed copy of this resolution will be presented. Thank you.
And the chair recognizes Ms. Kirchner and Commissioner Figueroa for remarks.
Thank you, Councilman Clark and Councilwoman Maria Quinones, for sponsoring this resolution and being a staunch advocate for children. On behalf of the Philadelphia Department of Human Services and in partnership with the Philadelphia Children's Alliance, I am honored to accept this resolution proclaiming April 2018 to be Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month in the City of Philadelphia. The truth is, child sex abuse is among one of the most difficult pieces of work that we are aware of, and we have to open our hearts and also educate. It's all of our responsibility to have a voice and protect our children. It's never okay to be silent on child sexual abuse. We're very fortunate. You heard about the collaboration. It's unique. It's a national model. The fact that we bring everybody together and can minimize the trauma of a child who's experienced tremendous trauma in their life. I want to thank the Philadelphia Children's Alliance. I want to thank the council body for their tremendous support of our work in this very difficult work. Thank you.
I also want to thank Councilwoman Quinones Sanchez for sponsoring this resolution and City Council for declaring April 2018 as Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month. I'm the Executive Director of the Philadelphia Children's Alliance, a role that I've had for many years. And recently, though, child sexual abuse is in the news every day. You can't open the paper without hearing of a national story or a local story. We have read and wept as the multitude of actors and athletes came forward to speak about sexual abuse that occurred when they were minors. Commissioner Figueroa and I have been speaking out to remind everyone that as we read these heartbreaking stories in Hollywood and DC and New York, there are Philadelphia stories too. For every Allie Raceman, who was one of 150 victims abused by her USA gymnastics coach, there might be a little girl in Frankfurt. And for every Anthony Knapp, who was abused when he was 14 by Kevin Spacey, there might be a small boy from the Northeast. Every neighborhood in Philadelphia is affected. Last year, there were 3,000 reports of alleged sexual abuse to DHS and the police. 40 to 50 children come to our co-located center every week, so that's 8 to 12 kids every day, so you can picture some of them sitting in our waiting room right now, for a coordinated investigation and to receive services. And these are only the cases that we know about. Research tells us that only 38% of children ever disclose their abuse. 62% of the kids keep quiet, and maybe they'll talk about it later when they're adults. Children come to our facility on Hunting Park Avenue to talk about what has happened to them, to be interviewed by experts, to get a medical exam, to get victim support services, and to get therapy, and to begin their process of healing. If we all do our jobs, their abuse will stop and they will be protected. The abuse will not be a life-defining event, but will be something that they work through with the help of qualified professionals. I'd like to thank our partners and advocates who have spoken out on this issue. We coordinate our efforts. We have a fully integrated response to these cases that involves the Philadelphia Police Department's Special Victims Unit, who are housed with us, the Department of Human Services, who has all of their sex abuse specialists housed with us, the District Attorney's Office, who has staff on site, as well as Children's Hospital and St. Christopher's Hospital, who share coverage of the medical suite, and our 15 mental health provider partners throughout the community. We thank them all for their partnership and support. We were also very fortunate this year. I don't know if any of you saw our Give to 5 to PCA campaign, so Nick Foles, Trey Burton, and Jordan Hicks from the Philadelphia Eagles adopted us. These Super Bowl champions opened their wallets and their hearts to help our child victims. An off-the-field Philly special, if you ask me. By taking steps to promote child abuse awareness and prevention, City Council is taking a great step in helping us in our mission to bring healing and justice to every victim of child sexual abuse in the city of Philadelphia. As a community, we must stay informed, speak out, and protect our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Bediz.